Welcome back into another episode of Hefe's World. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. But let's go ahead and get right into it. We doing the SmackDown review episode. SmackDown kicked off with Michael Cole introducing Pat McAfee. We are in Indy, so we all know Pat McAfee's history as he played for the Colts. Now he is the WWE announcer. So they kick things off. Pat McAfee cut an amazing promo for the city of Indy and the Royal Rumble as it is tomorrow. So, with that said, they turned it over to Joe in the ring, and Joe began the show talking about how Kevin Owens was upset last week due to the fact that he interviewed Cody Rhodes and not him. So he said he's going to interview Kevin Owens this week. Kevin Owens comes out to the ring. Uh, Basically cuts his promo and he takes back down the Winged Eagle Championship from the ring that was being held up with the WWE Championship. He took that down and put it over his shoulder and was trying to leave the ring. But who other than CM Punk? His music hit, and he came out to the ring and he cut a great promo. The crowd was absolutely hot for CM Punk. It's very interesting to see how they are using CM Punk right now. It almost makes it seem like CM Punk's gonna either win the Rumble or the Elimination Chamber. One of my friends really believes that Punk is going to win the Rumble and Cena will win the Elimination Chamber due to the amount of promo that the Elimination Chamber is getting with John Cena. I still believe that WWE is most likely going to have Cena tie Stone Cold's record, but I'll get into that on my Royal Rumble um, preview episode coming up for you guys real soon. But back to SmackDown, we had Kevin Owens and CM Punk in the ring, and Punk towards the end of the promo, uh, he pretty much tells Kevin Owens to get back into the ring and let's fight. But Kevin Owens, of course, wants no parts and he leaves. Backstage, we have a segment with The Miz and Nick Aldis. Miz is basically telling, I mean, we've seen this countless times. The Miz is basically talking his smack about Andrade from last week, and he pretty much says, if I see him, I'm gonna punch him in the face, blah, blah, blah. And of course, who's behind him? None other than Andrade. WWE does this, I mean, like I said, countless times. So we already knew what we were gonna expect here. Match being announced between those two later on in the night. Then we have a backstage segment with Jimmy Uso. This one was very interesting. I'm not sure if you guys paid attention to it, but Shinsuke Nakamura was creeping in the background of the promo when Jimmy was making his way towards the gorilla position. So it was very interesting, and it was also very interesting commentary. Nobody, Pat McAfee, Cole, nobody, Joe, absolutely no one even mentioned the fact that Shinsuke was hiding in the background and in the shadows there. So it's very interesting to see if Jimmy will go after a singles title and what's next for Shinsuke as well. So that was an interesting piece there that they plugged in. If nobody saw that, go ahead and go check that out. That was right before the Jimmy Uso and Carmelo Hayes match, but. Carmelo Hayes' music hits after Jimmy made his way to the ring. Carmelo cut another promo on his way to the ring. Um, I mean, the match was great back and forth action. Great match on the card. Jimmy ended up winning this match, pretty much sunning Carmelo Hayes, trying to ended up hitting him with his own sneak tactics, getting the roll up pin with the tights. So shout out Jimmy for the win here. Then we get a Royal Rumble hype video, followed by a backstage segment with Chelsea Green and Piper Nivens. But pretty much hyping up the match uh, that she's getting ready to have with Michin. So they made their way down to the ring, followed by Michin making her way down to the ring with BFAB. Michin noticeably came to the ring with her favorite weapon of choice, which is a kendo stick. So remember that part. This match was a great back and forth action. Um, as I had predicted, I was saying I didn't think that they were going to take this title off Chelsea just yet, and it would most likely be a DQ finish. So as with that being said, the match was great back and forth. There was a point in time where Chelsea was trying to escape and pretty much get a DQ, or not a DQ, a count out loss here, it seemed like, and keep the title that way. But she ended up grabbing the kendo stick and hitting Meechin with it for the DQ win by Meechin. So still our champion, Chelsea Green, unfortunately. So uh, there will definitely be another match between these two. They didn't announce it for the Royal Rumble, so maybe they're going to push it to the Elimination Chamber, possibly a street fight, steel cage, something to contain these women. So we may get something more than just a street fight. Actually, we may get something bigger, like I said, a steel cage, something to keep BFAB and Piper Niven away from the end results, and also to bring some element to this match. But I would be on the lookout for those two women to lock horns, possibly at Elimination Chamber, coming up down the line. After that, we had a backstage segment with Naomi and Bianca Belair. They hyped up the Royal Rumble, and Naomi also hyped up the match that she has later on tonight with Liv Morgan. She said that Liv better be ready to rumble. Then we get a Charlotte Flair return video package. Charlotte is making her return at the Royal Rumble and most likely will win the Royal Rumble. She is heavily favored to win on betonline.ag. If you guys are into the betting world, I believe she is minus 375 currently. So she is absolutely heavily favored. Unlike the men's bracket, there is no real favorite in that match. Everybody is plus money. But again, I will get into the rest of those odds later on, so make sure you check out my preview episode later on. Back to SmackDown, we had Damian Priest music hit, and he made his way down to the ring. Now this is very interesting. Great work here. So let's get right into it. Damian Priest, he cut a great promo, and then surprise, surprise, Jacob Fatu's music hits, and I mean the exchange of words between these two guys absolutely amazing. Um, it ended with Damian Priest ending up hitting a super kick pretty much on Tamatanga and laying him out, and then Jacob and Damian would end up locking horns. Tamatanga would end up getting back up, and they would eventually get the 2-on-1 on Damian. Tama would go get a chair from the outside and bring that in, and LA Knight's music would hit, and he would make his way for the save. This eventually ended with Jacob and Tama retreating up the top and LA Knight grabbing a mic and calling out a 2-on-2 match for later on in the night. So um, that will be the main event for this night. So after that, we cut to the backstage area where we have Legado del Fantasma talking to Santos and I'm sorry, Los Garza's talking to Santos, and Motor City comes up and they try and get a word in and pretty much get on the same page for the tag team match they have later on with DIY and Pretty Deadly. This does not go Motor City's way. Um, Santos is basically telling Los Garza's be for yourselves. After this little backstage segment, Pretty Deadly's music hits. They make their way out to the entrance ramp, and then DIY's music hits, and they all four make their way down to the ring together. Back from commercial break, we already had Los Garzas, and then we coming down to the ring, and then we have Motor City music hits, and they make their way down to the ring as well. During this match, I mean, it was an excellent back and forth matchup. A lot of amazing talent in the ring at one time. Um, we had pretty dead. I'm sorry, we had Los Garzas ended up leaving Motor City Machine Gun towards the end of this matchup. Um, and that honestly did not affect things because Motor City Machine Gun is just they're just that great of a tag team, it seems like, and they picked up this win. Saban ends up getting the roll up on Champa for the win here, so they could possibly win their tag team titles back this Saturday when they have to face them in a 2 out of 3 falls match. So be on the lookout for that. He got a clean victory here tonight, so it was great. And then we got a commercial, and we got back from the commercial. We have Jacob and Tama Tonga walking, and Jacob keeps going, but Thomas stops and he looks over, and then we see what he's looking at, and it's those tag team titles that are laying out. DIY eventually would come by and grab those tag team titles. They would pretty much I'm sorry, first Tama would hit his signature, yeah, 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 yeah. And then they will walk off. They would see Pretty Deadly and pretty much get into it with them. Pretty Deadly pretty much tells um, that the DIY at the end as they're walking off that they're pretty much on their own towards the end of this. So it's good to see the direction that Hunter is putting Pretty Deadly in, getting them away from DIY and putting them on their own. Hopefully they can build some momentum towards here because they're not a bad tag team. There's just something missing from them. So it's unfortunate, but we'll see what happens. Now that they're on their, now that they'll probably be on away from DIY and on their own. So we'll see if they can pick up some steam. Um, then we had Pat introduce Tyrese Halliburton. I'm sorry. Tyrese was in the crowd. The Indiana Pacers' own point guard. He hypes up the Pacers game that's going to be played. Um, against the Hawks at 5 p.m. tomorrow. And then he also talked about the Rumble a little bit. After that, we have a little video package about Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. After that, we have Naomi making her way down to the ring with Bianca Belair, followed by Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez for the Liv Morgan and Naomi match. A great back and forth matchup that ends with Naomi getting the victory here, and Naomi and Bianca are celebrating in the ring. I'm sorry, Raquel Rodriguez would first attack both women, and then Liv Morgan would then attack Bianca Belair. Bianca would get the upper hand for a second, but that would not last. Raquel would make sure that would not last, and she would stack both women, Naomi and Bianca, on top of each other, and then hit a power bomb with Liv Morgan onto those two women. After that, we get a recap of Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman from Saturday night's main event. If you guys did not see that, one hell of a match that ended in pretty much a DQ stoppage. Jacob Fatu, absolute monster, destroyed Braun Strowman. So if you guys did not see that, make sure you go check that out. After that video package, the Miz's music hits and he makes his way down to the ring, followed by Andrade making his way down to the ring for a Miz versus Andrade match. Excellent back and forth matchup. The Miz is definitely a great worker in the ring, exceptional worker. I know people hate him, but for what it's worth, The Miz has been doing this for years and he is still going strong. For years, I definitely did not like The Miz. I still don't necessarily like him, but I respect him a hell of a lot more. However, Andrade picked up the win here because now Miz is at the point of his career where he is just giving back. Then we have a backstage segment with Damian Priest walking past Santos, and they have a way with words. And Santos by the end says, "I will see you down the road," to Damian. Then Damian, he sees R-Truth. They have a little spat real quick, and then he sees LA Knight, who they're getting ready and hyping up their match later. R-Truth pretty much comes by too. R-Truth, man, he is an actual national treasure, and he needs to be protected. He needs to be bubble wrapped because we cannot lose R-Truth. He is definitely the guy, 100%. If if we could give him a world title without it making sense and without the world losing touch of the universe, it would be great to see, but I just don't think R-Truth can would fit in that stratosphere. Maybe a U.S. title run or something that would be nice, but R-Truth, man, definitely shout out. He's definitely one of the best, man. Um, but back to SmackDown. After we had that backstage segment with them, they cut to a little segment with Zelina Vega and Tiffany Stratton. They had a little way with words as well. And then Michael Cole and Pat McAfee were in the ring, and they bring out Tiffany Stratton, who then again cuts a promo in the ring. And then Candice LeRae's music hits, and she makes her way down to the ring. She pretty much tells Tiffy that she was jealous of um of Nia and Candice and their friendship, basically. And then Nia tries to attack Tiffy, Tiffany, but Tiffy sidesteps pretty much, and she ends up attacking Candice LeRae. But by the end, Nia did get the better of Tiffany Stratton. So it was very unfortunate to see. that Tiffy got laid out here by Nia. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen next between all of these women. Nia and Candice LeRae are both officially in the Royal Rumble match. I doubt either one of them will win. So we'll see what happens next for either one of those women, as well as what happens next for Tiffany Stratton. But after this match, Jacob Fatu's music hits, and him and Tama Tonga make their way down to the ring. And then back from commercial, Damian is waiting, and LA Knight's music hits, and they make their way down to the ring, and they immediately get into the ring. The Normally the ref would try and separate the men apart from each other instead of ringing that bell, but I believe the ref already knew better. He rang that bell immediately. There was absolutely no way he was going to stop those two or those four men from beating the hell out of each other in the beginning of the match. But this was an excellent match. Um, a great back and forth match. Jacob Fatu, one of the greatest workers in WWE right now. Damian Priest, LA Knight, also one of the greatest workers. And shout out Tama Tonga. He looked exceptional in this matchup. Um, he might have been the highlight wrestler in this matchup because we already knew what we were getting from LA, Damian, and Jacob. But we definitely saw a different side of Tonga tonight, so it was great to see that in the ring. However, LA Knight and Priest would pick up the victory. After the match, though, Jacob Fatu attacked Damian Priest and laid him out in the middle of that ring to end SmackDown. So I'm curious to see what's next week when we get SmackDown and Jacob Fatu and Damian Priest are under one roof. Also, man, like I said in my opening preview episode and the title for it, where is Solo Sikoa? When is Solo Sikoa coming back? And what like what is next for that entire bloodline? But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Make sure you guys catch my preview episode of the Royal Rumble. It is this Saturday, 6 p.m. start time. So we will be talking about both of the Rumble matches as well as some tag team action match. And we got a ladder match that's headed blind by Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. So that will be great. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. And just remember, this is Hefe's World and y'all just living in it. I'll see y'all next time.